It usually begins with a quiet promise. You're standing in your kitchen on a Sunday evening, or perhaps lying awake in the dark, and you decide that tomorrow will be different. You envision a version of yourself that moves with purpose, someone who handles their responsibilities with a calm, steady hand. You feel a brief surge of hope, a belief that you've finally reached a turning point. But when tomorrow actually arrives, the weight of the world feels different than it did in your imagination. You sit down to start that project you've been avoiding. But the silence of the room feels heavy. Instead of opening the document or picking up the tool, you find yourself checking your phone. You aren't even looking for anything specific. You're just drifting through streams of information, watching minutes turn into hours. There is a hollow feeling in your chest, a quiet frustration that grows as you watch your intentions slip away. You wonder why you can't just do the things you know would make your life better. Maybe you try to force it. You sit at your desk, jaw clenched, staring at a screen or a blank page, but your mind feels like a radio tuned to static. Every small distraction, a notification, the hum of the refrigerator, a bird outside, becomes an excuse to look away. You end up cleaning the house or organizing a shelf, doing productive things that aren't the one thing you actually need to do. By the end of the day, you're physically exhausted, yet you haven't moved an inch closer to your goals. You feel like you're running in place, exhausted by a race that hasn't even started. For those of us who are more sensitive to our surroundings and our inner states, this cycle is deeply draining. We carry the unfinished list like a physical weight, the books we haven't read, the creative ideas we've abandoned, the morning routines that only lasted 2 days. It's not just about being busy, it's about the erosion of self-trust. Each time we fail to follow through, we tell ourselves a story that we simply aren't disciplined enough, or that we lack the willpower others seem to have so easily. We feel stuck in the gap between the life we are living and the potential we can clearly see but cannot reach. Tonight, we aren't here to judge that feeling or to tell you to work harder. We are simply acknowledging that this struggle is real and that it is shared by so many of us. We are sitting here together in the quiet, looking at the truth of our resistance without the need to apologize for it. You aren't failing. You are simply navigating a very human experience. To find a way out of this cycle, we look to the work of James Clear. In his book, Atomic Habits, Clear approaches the problem of procrastination not as a character flaw, but as an architectural issue. He spent years studying the science of behavior, not to create a rigid boot camp, but to understand how our brains actually work. He discovered a truth that provides immediate relief. You do not rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your systems. This means that if you are struggling to start, the problem isn't your motivation, it's the path you've built. Clear introduces the idea of the atomic habit. An atom is small, but it is the building block of everything. Similarly, our lives are built out of tiny, repetitive choices. For the introspective soul, the reason we procrastinate is often because our goals are too big and too vague. We want to get healthy or be creative, but those are destinations, not steps. Every action you take is a vote for the type of person you wish to become. If you want to be a writer, you don't need to write a chapter today. You just need to write one paragraph. That one paragraph is a vote for your new identity. One of the most practical tools he offers is the 2-minute rule. When you start a new habit, it should take less than 2 minutes to do. The goal isn't the work itself, but the act of showing up. If you want to meditate, start by sitting for 60 seconds. If you want to exercise, just put on your shoes. You have to master the art of showing up before you can master the habit. Procrastination usually lives in the starting. By making the start incredibly easy, you bypass the brain's natural fear of the difficult. We also have to consider our environment. Often, we try to use willpower to overcome a space that is working against us. If you want to read more but your phone is always on your lap, you are fighting an uphill battle. Clear suggests environment design. You don't need a stronger will, you need a kinder environment. This means making the cues of your good habits obvious, like placing your book on your pillow, and making the cues of your bad habits invisible. What this means for you is that you can stop blaming your laziness. Success is not a mountain you climb through force. It is a system you inhabit with ease. When we shift our focus from the massive end result to the tiny, 2-minute beginning, the resistance starts to fade. The grandest lives are built on the smallest foundations. You are allowed to start small. You are allowed to make it so easy that it feels impossible to fail. In that smallness, you find the safety you need to finally move forward. As we approach the end of our time together, I want you to take a breath and let the weight of your to-do list fall away for a moment. What if the exhaustion you feel isn't a sign of failure, but simply information? It might be your mind telling you that the way you've been trying to change is too harsh, or that you're asking too much of yourself all at once. Your resistance is not an enemy to be conquered. It's a signal that you need more ease. Change doesn't have to be a loud, dramatic transformation. It can be a quiet, internal shift. You don't have to decide anything monumental today. You don't have to have your whole life figured out by tomorrow morning. You are allowed to move at your own pace by deciding to be 1% better rather than 100% different. You give yourself the grace to actually grow. The simple act of listening to these words and reflecting on your life is a form of progress. You are softening the soil of your mind. Think of a forest in late winter. It looks still, almost stagnant, but underneath the frozen ground, the roots are preparing. Your moments of quiet reflection are not wasted time. They are the invisible work that makes your future growth possible. You are preparing for your own spring. Let's pause here. We don't need to plan, and we don't need to solve anything. Just notice how it feels to be present in this moment. This quiet presence is the fertile ground from which all meaningful change eventually blossoms. Trust that the atomic steps are enough. Trust the wisdom of the small, the consistent, and the quietly persistent. You are exactly where you need to be. Now, let's take a few minutes to turn inward. Close your eyes if you feel comfortable. Breathe. Let yourself rest in this space. Think of the one task that feels heaviest right now. Ask yourself, how can I make the first 2 minutes of this feel easy? Imagine one small change you could make to your room to help your future self. Remember that every small choice you make today is a vote for who you are becoming. Rest in the knowledge that you are enough, exactly as you are, right now. When you are ready, slowly open your eyes.